All right, we're live. Thank Jesus. I'm streaming two videos particularly because I feel the Lord wants to interject testimony as well and a little about myself as well. So I spoke a little bit on the other tape too about my um, growing up as a young man, as a child. Uh, my dad got healed of tuberculosis. He was, ever since that time of being his healing, he became a Christian. His faith was in God. And the rest of the story is living with a man of faith, like out of the Bible, literally. He never took a drink, pills, hospital, doctors, never went to a doctor visit for anything. And he had situations in his life, which I'm not going to use that to talk about, but I'm basing myself on my dad and my mother, who bore 12 children. And we all had to grow up in this faith living, uh, no doctors for us either, no hospitals. We had problems, and trust me, everyone has a testimony growing up without a hospital or doctors or shots. For any sicknesses or anything, we went to prayer. When my mother caught pneumonia, she was dying. And that would be the time to call the hospital. But no, my dad, he'd get us together around the bed. We'd pray. He was a praying man, not only a scholar of the word after many years in prayer. His knees were like charcoal. We didn't realize it until, he deceased, how his knees looked from praying 6, 8 hours at a time. Um, that was my dad. My mother was a Christian. She was a Christian before my dad was. And so my dad used to try to test her and trick her and use tactics of the Bible. That's what got him started to read the Bible. But anyhow, that's a long story. Uh, so we grew up in a family that sin was everything. It's like a bad movie where the guy brings up his kids and won't let them out of the house, you know, because he's afraid they're going to sin. It it was in that sense, but not like that severe. Where it was severe enough that we had to hear God all the time. That was, I think, the worst of it, because we just had God, 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 God. Everything was about God and the Word. And so, you can, I think, if you're not really trying to accept it or receive it or believe it, it could drive you crazy. But, you know, it didn't hurt us. And the only reason I say that is because of the strictness. You can't do this, you can't watch TV, you can't go bowling, you can't go to a movie, you can't play sports, you can't wear dresses or pants, you can't wear makeup, you can't wear jewelry, you can't wear. So, in that sense of the word. But other than that, we used to go to, uh, we lived in the black community, very poor projects, mother of food stamps, um, and project. I'm talking about the bottom line of projects. Uh, I live here in Corpus, but I've seen their projects, and it's not even comparison. So the bigger cities, you'll find projects, real down projects, and those are the type of projects we lived in. I always tell people that if you've ever seen Lean on Me, I think that's the one with Freeman in it, where he takes the bat to everything. And that school in particular was my school. I don't see anything different that we didn't have going on in our school in that movie that was not different. It was all true facts. The way we went to school, we had to fight our way through school, prove that we were tough, and so on. But at any rate, God anointed the family, and we were blessed to be able to go out to many churches around Chicago and Detroit and Illinois and Milwaukee and Michigan. All these places we grew up singing in the Black community, and so the church was ours. We only knew the gospel. We only knew some of the best of the ones we knew were like Jesse Dixon and the Shirley Caesars and you know Don McClurkin and I think I took a picture of just the other day. I was by my sister's and I saw some pictures. I says, please let me take a picture of this so I can show the audience. And in here, you'll see uh, Don Clerkin and uh, what's that pastor? The Winans, which my sister was attended there. They all knew my family, and just if you can see this picture, okay, you'll see Donnie McClurkin. Where is he? How can I point at this? Right there with my sister, and you can see the where's the other one? I'll have to bring it back a little. Uh, right here is the Winans, where my sister attended, and I don't know if you can see them real clear, but we were affiliated with them. They knew my family. We knew them. Every time we met, they would scream and we would scream, and we were so happy to see each other. The last place we saw Dinah McClurkin was at uh, the what's his name in Ohio. Why do I lose these names? Parsley, Parsley. That's all I can remember. Pastor Parsley. Um, he sang there quite a bit, uh, and we grew up in the era of Shambach, W.R.W. Shambach. A. Allen, he goes a little further back. I was quite young then, but I remember hearing about him in his tent meetings and so forth. But that was the way to that's the way we were brought in. We'd go to tent meetings, and wherever they had a tent meeting, we were there, and powerful things. But Pastor R.W. Shambach, his meetings were just intense. Uh, First time I remember him putting out a bunch of buckets in front of the tent. And some of y'all know what I'm talking about. I thought he was collecting offering. He put all these white little buckets all in front of the altar. But little did I know these were not for offering. These were for casting demons out, and people just throwing up and spitting out those demons out of their lives. And so that's what we grew up in. We grew up and seeing demons, people having demons and swerving on the floor and crawling like snakes and screaming like demons and faces turning and twisting and eyes bulging back of their heads. And I mean, we saw it. If you've seen any kind of a movie of any kind of exorcist or demonic forces, that's what we were involved in seeing. So I was saying all that because, uh, you know, uh, I was giving my testimony. And the last one, I'm following this through. I don't have much time left because I have to go to a prayer meeting tonight. But I just want to say that I might have to do one more when I get back. But it was about after casting a demon out of this woman who was a witch, and through that prayer, there was another lady, young girl, there because I was young. I was 17, and I was casting out after casting during the time casting the devil out. That the person I was casting the devil out didn't know this other person personally, but she exposed her as being a witch. When she was screaming out her name, I think her name was Rose. Yeah, because she a friend of the family, very beautiful girl. I didn't know she was involved with witchcraft until the person I was trying to get the demon out of called out her name and called out that what kind of witch she was. These are things that happen that just are phenomenal. After all that happened, it was not a couple months later. I came home and I went upstairs. Now, okay, this was before the casting of the demon out of this woman. I already told the story about that. I came home. It was winter in January, and it's cold in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Cold around that time. Those are the freezing January, February. And I came up to my room where my room was, the big living room area. It's my room. The whole apartment upstairs was mine. And it was freezing. It was so cold you could see your breath. And I said, why is it so cold up here? I've never had it this cold. I like the cold. Sometimes when in the winter, I would just raise the window up a little tiny bit to smell that fresh snow type smell. It was just a beautiful smell. So sorry, forgive me. And I went and I tried to look in my room. I looked in the kitchen windows, in my room windows, the bathroom windows. Nothing was open. But my sister had that room right across from the bathroom. And that was my sister's room. That's where she slept. Well, I go in there and I open the door, and it just was even more cold when I opened that door. It was so cold, it was freezing. And I went to the window and it was open. And I went and I said, my God, who would do this? Who would open this window and want this much cold in the house? And I went and I shut the window. Now, my sister, I'd like to talk to her about her, but she's deceased now. We lost a sister some years ago, and bless her heart, I miss her so much. And that was her room. And my sister had a canopy bed. If you know what a canopy bed is, it's a big bed with high poles, and she had like drapes over all the sides, something you would see in the movie. And I sensed someone was in that bed, but the mind was saying, no, it can't be because it's too cold. There's no one that could stand this cold and be sleeping. So I went back just out of curiosity. I just knew my sister wasn't sleeping in this. I thought maybe that someone put the window open, forgot to close it. And definitely nobody is in this bed. And I went and I'm freezing. It's cold. You see your breath. I opened the little canopy part of the I don't know, drapes or whatever. And I see a person laying down there. And she's just stiff. And her hands are like this. Look peaceful. It looked so peaceful that I thought she's dead. She was so pale white, but very peaceful. But I got chills down my spine. And this was before we got together and God used me to cast devils out of her. I got chills down my spine. I backed off. I didn't want to even wake her up because I've had some brothers who had experiences with other witches that end up flying in the air and doing things that they all have their testimony. But believe me, this is true stuff. God knows. God knows. I don't need to swear upon nobody, but I'm telling God knows. He's and I'm not here to make up things. This is my testimony. And soon I'm going to have other family members come on with me and give these testimonies that they experience. It's going to get really good as far as that's concerned. And I backed up. I didn't even turn around. I didn't want to turn my back on that. I wanted out. And I backed out of there and I went back down. I didn't want to even be up there. I can't remember what happened after that, where I ended up doing it, whatever. But that I remember for sure. Because it wasn't for a few months later that's the other stream video will tell you about the casting out the devils. So after the casting out the devils, and then one day after a month or two, I came home. See, I'm not going to be able to finish this. I want to be able to finish in the story. And uh, I tell you what, we're going to stop here. But I'm going to say this much. I came home. I went to sleep. I was 17 years old. I was feeling a little cold in my spirit. I was just like, I believe the enemy was warring with my mind and my flesh and all that. So let's just say I was kind of weak in that time. Came home, went to bed, laid down on the bed, and all of a sudden I went. If anybody knows what going into a trance dream or vision or whatever, you're going into a trance position. How you say? What would you say? What word? Transition. And then I saw myself because my mattress was completely on. I didn't have a regular bed. I just had a mattress on the floor. And when I was laying down, there were three windows in that living area. And then in that moment, I saw myself get up and I raised the window up, and I remember that happening. And I lay back down three times, and I got up again, and I raised the window. And I saw myself doing this. And I lay back down, my eyes closed, and I got up three times. And I raised the window up, and I laid back down. And this is where I'm going to have to leave you for now in suspense. But I'm going to have to just make one more tape on this because I want to give you that much testimony of my life. God had a purpose for me to raise that window up. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking it's a dream, it's just a dream that I opened the window. But later on, you find out that I literally opened the window. I don't know why three times, but I did, literally. And when that happened, after that happened, my eyes opened and I felt such a powerful presence. It's one thing to say, oh, I had felt the jibbies, ibby jibbies. Oh, I got lumps and bumps on my skin. It's scary. Oh, my hair is standing up on my neck. Scary. No. This is bigger than scary. This was intense because if you never felt the presence of Satan in a full force way, then you don't know what I'm talking about. But maybe somebody has. I'm sure someone has. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But the presence and the deep darkness that I felt and the fear that took place in my mind and heart, it made me paralyzed. The demonic, dark deepness, presence of Satan